What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Success After Trauma, where we bring on guests and we ask them to share their story, to get transparent with you on what it was like going through the challenges that they faced and what they're doing today to continue to create success after trauma. Today's guest is a buddy of mine, LaForenzo. He's a veteran, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and absolutely has a servant's heart. I'm excited for you guys to hear LaForenzo's story so that you can pull the inspiration you need and get your life to the next level. LaForenzo, I'm excited to have you on. I appreciate having you on today. Can you tell us a little bit about, I want to know, as being a veteran, what triggered you? What was the deciding factor, or what motivated you? Where did you first get the idea of joining the military?
First off, I just want to say thank you for having me on your podcast today. And what triggered me to join the military was growing up in a neighborhood, just growing up in poverty, living paycheck to paycheck, not much going on. Either people around the neighborhood, they was either selling drugs, doing drugs, and I just wanted something different out of my life. I had recently just had my son like 3 years before that, so I just knew it was time for me to do something different other than just hanging around the neighborhood and everything, because I wanted something different for my life. And I wanted to be able to, when my son grew up, to show him that anytime you put your mind towards something, anything is possible. So I was going back from job to job. And then I had just went to college for HVAC, heating and air, got my certification, and I was just going from job to job. And then I just knew it was something different for me to do in the world. I knew it was something else that I can contribute to people around my community, around the world. And I just knew that if I joined the military, get myself a better opportunity, I would be able to give back to my community once I finish serving my time.
Dude, I love that. Tell me a little bit about where was, and maybe you'll consciously remembered, or maybe it's in the unconscious, but somewhere we talk about, have you ever heard the saying before that we become the sum of the 5 people we hang around most?
Mm-hmm.
You chose to not become that sum. What do you remember, what consciously, as you were growing up, as you were in an environment that you said that's not what I want my life to become. I want my life to become something different. Can you remember like what sparked that for you? What did you see at some point? I'm assuming you saw, heard, or felt something somewhere along in your life that triggered that, hey, there's more than this, and I'm going to create that more. Do you remember what that was like for you, or when you had that moment?
Yes. Just growing up when I was younger, I grew up in a domestic violence environment, and I just always just seeing my mom just being sad and everything, and I just knew it was something different. And then after growing up, it just hanging around everybody, just either getting high or selling drugs, and that's just something that I didn't want to do. So at that point, I was like, man, it's something I have to do. So I was like, okay, maybe let me go talk to a recruiter and see can I join the military. So I went and talked to a few different recruiters, and then I told them, like, I want to join the military, I want to serve my country, but I do want to travel a lot. Not knowing that when I told him I want to travel a lot, he gave me the field artillery MOS, and I was like, okay. I went to Fort Bragg, Fort Sill, Camp Casey, Korea. I was like, I kind of want to go to Hawaii, Germany, some other places, But I did get to travel. I did get to travel in the military. It really did change my life. It helped me look at life a lot different.
Wow, that's so okay. Before I want to hop in a little bit more into the military experience, but before we do, would you share a little bit with us around what were some of the challenges, the mental challenges, the emotional challenges you faced growing up in the house where it sounded like, and correct me if I'm wrong, your mother was abused. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. I grew up in a domestic violence environment from the age of 1 through 8, and then once I turned like 9, we ended up moving away. So I was raised in a single parents household. Then we ended up moving with my grandmother's house. We was living in Mississippi. We was living in a shack. When it rained, it had tin on the roof. The tin was flapping on the roof. We had to put pots in the floor. We had to put sheets in certain parts of the house to try to keep the house warm. And even when you went to the bathroom, you had to walk through a door where that part of the door was cold, and we had a small heater in the bathroom to keep the bathroom warm. Summertimes it was very hot, like the air conditioner did not cool the whole house. I slept on the couch. I would say from the time we left my father's house from like 9 until like maybe 14 or 15, I slept on the couch because in my room, the sheetrock was down. You could see the cedar outside. Then it was either hot or cold back there, cold in the wintertime, hot in the summertime. So I would always have to sleep on a couch. And then in high school, it was very challenging because in high school, I would never invite anyone over my house because I was so embarrassed of where I came from, nights not having food to eat, taking flour, making gravy and things like that to try to have a meal to eat. So so that right there, I always knew that I could do two things. I can get mad or I can humble myself to change my environment. So I shifted my mindset to I want to humble myself to show people back home that anything is possible if we just put our mind to it.
Man, that's powerful. And I love what you said. I want to highlight, you said I had the choice to get mad or humble myself and decide to make a difference. And that's powerful. When did you tell me a little bit about, did you know the whole time, or what tripped you off to realize? By the time in high school, you talked about like, hey, I'm embarrassed. I can't even have people over. But what let you know that your situation, when did you realize like, man, our situation is different than everyone else's?
I always knew it because even when I played sports, just my friends ride with them to school and ride with them to basketball games and things. I always knew that my life was different, but I didn't start appreciating my childhood until I was in my 30s. And because as I look back now, my childhood is what made me who I am today. So now I actually appreciate them hard times, because without them hard times, I would not be the person that I am today. I would not be as strong as or determined as I am today to achieve my goals.
That's incredible, man, and that's everything, man. That's incredible. Everyone that's listening in, I have a belief that all of every bit of trauma that you've been through, everyone listening to this right now, you face trauma in your childhood. Yours look different than mine. Yours look different than LaForenzo. But the big thing is having that belief to go forward, and having that courage to process our trauma. Because when we process our trauma, when we get to the other side, every time 10 for 10, when we get to the other side, we then realize all the gifts that our trauma is. And I can see that you've pulled the gifts out of your trauma. You have appreciation for what you've been through.
Yes.
That's incredible, man. Okay, tell us, let's dive into the military a little bit. So when he said, hey, you told the recruiter, look, I'm looking to travel, and he said, I got the perfect job for you, field artillery. What did you think that was? What was it? Did you know what that was, or what was your thoughts?
All I remember is when I went down to the recruiter office, I told him I wanted to travel. I said I wanted to do something cool. He told me 13 per par, field artillery. He told me I'll be working on the keyboard A tab, sending the grid quarters to the 13 mics. He showed me this video of the tanks in the field, driving across the field real fast, driving through mud puddles and things like that. And I was like, man, that looks cool. Not knowing when I got to my duty station that we was going to be in the field like a lot, even outside. And I was like, man, this is not what I wanted to do. So, but the thing about it, when I took my ASVAB test, I'm not good at taking tests. I recently discovered that I'm dyslexic. Once I got older, I just thought it was abnormal. I never knew what it was until my son was diagnosed, and I was like, man, I have some of the same. I'm dealing with some of the same things that he's dealing with. So so I'm not good at taking tests. I end up having to take my ASVAB test 4 times before I actually passed it. But I always said, look, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. And I told the recruiter, hey, I didn't pass this time. I'll be back next month. So I just continued to go back until I actually passed my test. And then once I passed it, he was like, how long do you want to wait before you leave? I said 2 weeks. And 2 weeks, I was off the basic training.
I love it. Dude, I love it. And the determination, you knew this was going to be the thing. I just want to highlight these pieces for everyone listening. You had something that you had a condition that was uh, affecting the way you were testing, but you weren't going to let that hold you back. You kept going back until you passed it, and you passed it. Tell me a little bit about when did you realize, as you join the military, you go through basic, you get set up with your unit. When did you, what were some of the realizations or experiences you had when you started to really figure out what field artillery was, i.e., living in the field?
One thing I would say about field artillery, your sections are small, so you get real. You create a real bond with your section and your the people in your section. So that's one good thing that I got out the military was I created we had real friendships. And when I got out the military, there was something I've struggled with because the military environment and the civilian environment is totally different. It's totally different mindset. So in the military, I created a strong bond with friends when I was especially in Korea, because a lot of us, we was not used to being away from home. That was really my first big trip away from being from Mississippi. I had traveled to a few places before then, but that really helped me create a bond, a brotherhood with my fellow peers and battle buddies in the military. So that alone helped me start to realize, to appreciate friendships. I knew growing up that you have people in the neighborhood, but I really didn't experience what a true friendship was, a real true brotherhood bond was, until I joined the military.
Wow, that's incredible. How many countries did you visit?
Just Korea and Japan.
Okay. Well, dude, that's legit. I didn't get to go to either one of those two, and I would have loved to seen either one of those. I also wouldn't have been mad at going to Hawaii, which I didn't go to either.
True.
Okay, how long did you serve in the military?
6 years.
And what were some of the highlights? What were some of the things that you were really proud of while serving?
Some of the things I was really proud of, just how the military, me having a child at a young age at 21, the military actually helped shift my mindset to help me become a man. Because I went into the military as a young man and became an actual man in the military. So it helped me appreciate the things in life for its integrity, honesty, just appreciate having a job, being able to do your job, because we always stayed in the motor pool. Anytime you picking grass out of cracks of the concrete, you will appreciate your job on the outside. So sweeping the motor pool and things like that, the leadership when I became an NCO, that helped me appreciate having soldiers, of creating teamwork, teaching them how to work together as a team. It also helped me to sit back and observe, to realize people's strengths and weakness and figure out how to put them in the best position to make our section run as one unit.
I love it, dude. I love it. Now, tell me a little bit about. You've already shared with me, and it's really powerful. I want, if you would share with other people how when you got out, some of the transitions you faced, and maybe if at whatever level you're willing to share, as you went and sought help for PTSD and some of the stereotypes that were so around PTSD, and stereotypes in terms of a lot of people think that and civilians, even veterans, and I think it's very important to talk about. I talk about it all the time. If you listen to my podcast before, you've heard me talk about it. Having gone to war is not the monopoly for PTSD. People experience PTSD from traumatic events in their life in any way, shape, or form, not just from war. And would you care to share a little bit about your transition of identifying that you had PTSD, seeking help for PTSD, and what that journey looked like?
When I got out the military, the transition was kind of rough. It was like I got out in 2015. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do, because one thing I knew is I could not shoot rockets in the civilian world. So that's one thing I would tell anyone that watched this video. Like, when you pick a job in the military, try to pick something that you can use once you go back into the civilian world. Because yes, we all go in and say we're going to be lifers or we're going to do this amount of time. But the thing about the military is you never know how much time you have. You never know if you're going to get injured. You never know if you have to get med board or something like that. So I always tell people, try to pick a job that you can actually use on the outside. So I went to school, I got out, I was going to school. My class was the first class in the military transitioning program at Fort Sill, because the reason they started this program is because so many soldiers were getting out the military, they was finding themselves homeless and not having a job. They was finding themselves homeless and not having a job. So they started this transitioning program so that you can have a career once you get out the military. So I did trucking school, and I had multiple options where I can choose or where I want to go live once I got out the military, but I chose Texas. But after driving the trucks, climbing up and down in the semi trucks, I started experiencing back pain in my back. So that's one of the reasons I stopped driving big trucks. So I finished my degree. I started working for a medical company where I was billing reports. And I like to be networking. So sitting at a desk all day was not working for me. So I don't mind being in the office half the time. The other half the time, like going out to events and things like that. Just trying to transition from budgeting money, because in the military you have a roof over your head, you get BAH, you have food at the DFAC. Just trying to between budgeting money, get my credit, realizing how important it is to have good credit when I get out the military, because getting high interest rates at dealerships and things, it was a whole different transition for me, for school, figuring out who I am as a person, what I want to do. In 2014, I had a bad accident where when I was leaving PT in the morning time, it was snowing, it was ice on the highway in Fort Sill. I ended up crossing the medium and hit the brick wall, and it pushed my truck. It spent my truck around. I had to go to the hospital. So that alone helped me discover some type of PTSD. So anytime even now, 7-8 years later, anytime I'm riding with someone, if they get too close to a vehicle, I have kind of like flashbacks. So I start patting the floor because I get real nervous. So what actually helped me was my sister. She told me I should be in sales. She was guiding me during the transition process alone. Once I got out the military in 2018, our mom, she was diagnosed with dementia. So she's still here with us. It's getting a lot worse. So she's now dealing with dementia. I was dealing with from 2018, from 2017, I think 2008 to 2019, I lost like 5 people out of my life, like in a 3-year time period. Two of my military buddies that I was real close with in my section, one ended up passing from just medical conditions that he got while in the military. Another one ended up passed when he was back home in Buffalo. He was saving a house fire. He was saving some friends on a house fire. He ended up going to the hospital, and he ended up dying from inhaling too much smoke. Then my uncle and like 2 other people passed away in my life. So I was already dealing with childhood trauma. I was dealing with growing up in a domestic violence environment. I was dealing from feeling like I was not enough for my father, having been neglected, feeling like why I could never. So many of my friends had special relationships with their fathers for so long. I thought I had did something. So I was dealing with that, dealing with the death of my friends. I was just dealing with a lot of different things. So that was from, and I didn't really start coping with those things until a close friend with me, he's real big into like psychedelic training and everything. He explained to me, like, with our psychedelic mind, we always try to hide the past bad things in the back of our brain. So he helped me understand that, so which led me to start going to counseling, which helped me transfer my life to start realizing who I am as a person and the things that I have to offer the world, because I really didn't realize who I was as a person until like 2 years ago, actually. So counseling actually helped me It actually helped me with the transitioning because I was able to talk to someone about all the things that I was dealing with. I have been carrying around on my shoulder for 36 years. Like, I tell anyone that that weight is not your weight to bear. So anyone that's dealing with anything, I would recommend them seeking some type of help, reaching out to somebody, to talk to somebody, because you talking to a counselor is totally different from you talking to a friend, because a counselor know what to say, when to say, how to say it. They know how to push your buttons, and they know how far to push your buttons, each section, to help you heal as much as possible. So counseling actually helped me.
That's awesome. So before your friend, I want to talk a little bit about, because I think it's important for people to hear and understand in their own model of the world. Tell just a little bit about before your friend stepped in. You had that friend that stepped in that said, "Hey, man, maybe what, I'm not sure what their words were." Before your friend stepped in, and what did you think? Like, what was the mindset in terms of like obviously you knew these things happened to you. Did you not realize that there was a way to overcome these things? Did you think that you had to bear that weight the rest of your life? What was your thoughts before you had the realization that there's a way through this?
I don't know. It was just the breaking point where growing up where I'm from, and growing up and I'm from, we always was taught to, you know what I'm saying, if you go seek help to counseling, you're not strong, you're weak. But actually it's the other way around. When you seek help and counseling and talk about what you're going through, the trauma you're going through, you actually a strong person, because now once you remove that pain, once you remove that hurt out of your heart and off your shoulders, now you can actually start live the life you was meant to, you was actually put on this earth to be. Because until you can actually remove that pain that you've been caused in the past, you cannot move forward with your life. Yes, you're moving forward day by day, but you actually still stuck back in time. So once you release that pressure, release that pain, that's when you first start living. So I really didn't start living as an adult until I was 36, because even though I don't have a relationship with my dad, I still love him. I can love him from a distance. I no longer let the way that I was feeling affect my life. Even though my best friend, the one that I was grew up with, he was a year older than me. He took me in, and he ended up going to prison right before I went to the military. And then in 2000, what was it? With 2022, I think it was January 2020. I was talking to him one evening, and he called me from prison. I was talking to him, and I just knew that this conversation was different from all the other conversations. Is that you ever been talking to someone, you just get this feeling like something is not right? So I was talking to him, and he was like, "Hey, cuz I love you." And it was just like, he was like, "I need you." It was actually a prison riot going on at the time. And he was like, we need help. And people don't understand, like, when we said we need help out in the outside world, we might need help 3-4 days, 5 days, even a week, a month later, we can get that help. But when someone said they need help on the prison system, they need help immediately, hours, seconds, minutes. And I just by the conversation that we had and me not being able to help him, I just knew by that conversation, it was the last time I was going to ever speak to him again. And I ended up going to sleep, and I woke up around, like, headed to my job around like at 6 or something in the morning, and my cousin called me. He told me our cousin had been killed in prison. So and that weight alone, that was the breaking point of me. I knew it was time to go to counseling, because that weight right there weighed on my shoulders. And just from I know he probably talked to some other people, just from our last conversation and everything that we have been through in life. And me as a business owner, I was trying to help him get in the mindset, because he was getting ready. They killed him on the morning that he was actually transitioning to another prison. So they knew that he was leaving. So they pushed the hit up on him earlier so they can go ahead and take him out. And I was actually months so before that, I was actually helping him shift his mindset to come back into the civilian world, because he was going to get out like 10 to 8 months later. So I was giving him tasks and things to do. As I learned as a business owner, I was also giving him tasks and things to do, so he can, once he did get out of prison, he would be ready to for the civilian world.
Wow, that's a heavy, heavy, heavy story, man.
But to answer your question, the turning point, that was my turning point. And after that, I could no longer carrying that weight around on my shoulder, because I knew something. I would pray, and I knew it was something different that God wanted me to do. Share my story, continue to be a good-hearted person, feeding the homeless, giving back. Like, even on, I started when back in like 2017, down here in the Dallas, Texas area. I started going to the Veteran Cemetery on Memorial Day weekend, July the 4th weekend, and Veterans Day weekend, because that is my way of giving back to our veteran community, our military community, because so many times, so many families, they only get to see their family members when they come to bury them at those grave sites. They don't, a lot of these families does not have money to go back and forth to visit their families at the grave. So every 3 times a year, what I do is I'm actually about to start going at Christmas time. 3 times a year, I go visit. I go to different areas of the cemetery, and I visit graves and just leave pennies on the grave, just to let them know that I was here. And by me being here, spiritually, I'm here with their family. So I'm a part of their family, because I visit their family member grave too, in order for them to be here. But really, they could not be here, just be here spiritually.
That's incredible, brother. Where'd you get that? Did you just get called for that one day, or where'd you get that idea from? That's incredible.
I just went down to the cemetery one day, because I just decided to drive to the Veteran Cemetery. I always wanted to see it, and I wanted to go visit. And when I got there, it's something about when I'm helping veterans, I get chills, because I feel like that's my God giving my sign that that's my calling to try to do more for the veteran community, try to be a resource to the veteran community, because so many of veterans, we do not know the benefits that we have available to us. We do not know a lot of things that on the outside, where a lot of veterans have a hard time transitioning to the civilian world. So by me just going to the cemetery, it was my place of peace. I felt so much peace at the cemetery, just sitting down on the ground, listening at the water on the lake and everything. It was just where I found my peace. So I try to go there 3 times a year.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about your journey going through therapy, coaching, that journey. So I have a belief, and so I'll project for everyone listening. I have a belief that journey never ends. That's just my belief. But how long was it for you, or what did it look like from like day one you showed up, and I don't, you'll share your experience. I know, when I first started taking on that journey, for me, people start sharing these, your therapist, coach, start sharing things with you, and you're like, what? But eventually you start realizing, it starts clicking. What did that look like for you?
So the way I got into therapy is it was around actually this time last year, because for some reason, every time I get close to my cousin's death anniversary, I would get like depressed or sad. And I was going this time last year, in October, I was going through one of the darkest times of my life. And it was just one thing after another just happening. And it took me like 3 years to finally accept that our mom had dementia, she had Alzheimer's, and she was never going to get better. So that was like, and then my cousin death, that was like the breaking point. So I was having a dark moment, and I reached out to the VA, and I was told them like, hey, look, I'm having a bad time. I really need to talk to someone. And it went on for like 3 weeks, and I finally, they recommended me to someone. And the company that they recommended me to, they say, if you was not a comeback veteran, we can only see you 2 or 3 times. And I explained to her like, hey, I have a lot of stuff built up in me. I need to release, I need to talk about. And I feel like it's not fair to me as a veteran or a former soldier for me to continue to open those wounds up after every 2 to 3 sessions, like 3 sessions, and then have to move to a new counselor. I feel like I need someone long-term. So I end up, they kept giving me different places, which none of those panned out. So I ended up doing my own research. I reached out to different veterans organizations around the DFW area. And one time I was just like, man, there's no hope for me. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I can't remember if it was a guy or a lady. They answered the phone and they was like, hey, try this place right here. And it was called Stephen A. Collins. And I called them and they was like, you a veteran? I was like, yes, I'm a veteran. And they was like, even if, because I use my VA benefit insurance. So they was like, if you don't have regular insurance, we have programs. So they let me in the program. I started talking to my counselor and she was like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, I got so much to talk about. I gave her different topics. She was like, so where you want to start? And I was like, well, first thing, I always see on TV when people come to counseling, they bring snacks and things. Can I bring some snacks? So she was like, so she laughed. She was like,
man.
but we was in the middle of COVID at the time. So she was like, I could not come into the office, but that was like the icebreaker for me to open up to her and just feel comfortable, because one thing about counseling or talking about things that we're dealing with, we have to actually feel comfortable with that person and trust them to be able to open up with them. So I went into counseling with an open mindset, because I knew in order for me to elevate to the next part of my life, to elevate me to the next part of my life, I had to remove that weight off my shoulders. So I went into counseling with an open mindset, and I was in counseling for 6 months. We started out seeing once a week, and then we moved to 2 times a week, and then we stayed at 2 times a week. But around month 6, we started running out of things to talk about. But it was like, I was happy that I was ending counseling, but I was also scared because I did not know if I had a relapse or something like that. I started going through dark places again or feeling trauma again. I thought I would not have anyone to talk to. And she let me know, like, hey, I know you're scared. I know you're worried, but just know we are always here for you. And if you need to speak to someone, just reach out to me, and we can start have an emergency counseling session. So 6 months of counseling, I was able to remove all past trauma, and I would say I graduated from the program after 6 months.
Wow, that's awesome, brother. That's incredible. So what form of, what do you do today to keep with, what's your, be it reading, meditating, mastermind, how do you keep your development and growth going today? I have a belief that if we neglect it, then that's where I think those, sometimes relapses, things like that will come up anyway because of intense trauma. But I believe when we neglect our growth, that's when everything kind of creeps back up. What are you doing today to keep your growth going on a day-to-day or weekly or monthly basis?
What I'm doing today to keep my growth, I work out. That is my de-stressor. Like,
we had no clue, by the way.
like working out is like it helps me balance, because one thing I've learned since leaving the military, you have to have balance. Even for business owner, you have to have balance. You cannot just work 100% time and not have balance, because you're going to burn out. And I learned that the hard way. I got to a point where I was just burning out because I was working 16 to 18 hours a day, work out 2 hours a day, sleep 3 or 4 hours a day, get back up and to work. I was working a full-time job and working on my business. So I would say balance, meditation. I started watching YouTube videos of meditation. I was praying and just detoxing. Just take some time to detox from social media. Take some time to detox from your family. Take some time to detox from yourself to help so you can create that new positive energy. If you have to go to the lake, meditate. If you have to go for a walk, do whatever you need to find you have to find your safe space. My safe space is water. Like when I just hearing the waves, hearing the water, just hearing the birds and everything around the lake. So actually next week I'm going to the ocean. So when I go to the ocean, that's how I regroup, recharge, and get refocused. So I tell anybody that's watching this, that's dealing with anything, seek counseling. And while you're seeking counseling, figure out what you need to do to find your balance.
Boom. That's it, man. I love that. Tell us a little bit about so business. So we tapped on a couple times. The listeners heard in the background. I've told them in the beginning you're an entrepreneur, but we haven't really got into your business. If you would tell everyone what was the pivoting point that took you to want to launch a business, and then how did you choose this business directly? And by the way, tell us a little bit about what your business is.
My business is we're a financial firm. It's called E3 Financial Solutions. We're a veteran-owned company. We specialize in credit repair. The way I got into the credit repair, it kind of found me. I was following a lady on social media, And I just always seen what she did in her business, how she was always giving back to the community, and that really inspired me because I have a good heart. I like to on the holidays I cook full course meals. And I like to go feed the homeless. I drive around the city, the DFW area, and I feed the homeless. I warm my food up, get plates, get some sodas, chips, and things like that. Or sometimes I put care packages together, so like survival packages for the winter. But I was following her for a while, and I will always pray, like, okay, God, what is it that you want me to do? Like, I know I'm supposed to help people, but what is it that I'm supposed to do? And one thing I've learned over the years, when we pray for something, 9 times out of 10, the answer is right there in front of us. And I was following this lady the whole time. I just did not shift my thinking to see that or see that this message is what's for me. So I end up taking her class. And it was a credit repair class. I started my credit repair business from the ground up. I took a credit card with $5,000 on it. And I said, okay, I'm about to make this happen. I invested $1,000 in the course, and I took another $1,000 to get my LLC and get everything up and running. And I took the other three, I put it in a business bank account. I did not touch it. I did not pay myself for 6 months. I continued to work my full-time job. I did not pay myself until I got $10,000 in the bank, because what I've seen in the past with business owners, you have good months and you have bad months. And I wanted to have cushion in my bank account, so when I did have those bad months, so it was kind of like I gave myself a head start. So I end up taking her course, because another thing led me to it. I was like, so not staying in Mississippi anymore, I'm living in Texas. So what can I do to give back to my community in Mississippi? And me, I know a lot of people back home, we didn't have anyone to teach us about credit, financial literacy, and things like that. So I figured if I can learn about credit and financial literacy, I can help change their life. For the ones that actually want to change their life and actually want to listen and change their life, because you cannot change someone's life that's not open-minded and not want to receive the message. But I've been able to help a lot of people back home fix their credit. This year alone, my company have helped over 100 families reach their credit goals, from buying houses, getting good credit scores, refinancing their homes and cars, getting vehicles, getting semi-trucks to start their business, helping business owners build business credit to get over $50,000 credit limit, credit cards, just a whole lot of different things. And when I started the credit repair company, it was like I'm never working, because this is my passion, and I get to help. So I get so emotional because I get to help so many people. I get to teach them a skill, so they can actually change their lives and change their financial situation to teach their kids, because now you can actually teach your kids, because now you understand how credit works. You understand how to properly use a credit card. You can teach your kids these things, and you know how to you understand about authorized user to use it the correct way. So when your son or daughter turn 18, they'll have over 700 credit score. So these things alone, they've inspired me and motivated me, and I just used up my gift, my purpose, to help change people's lives around the world. I've been speaking at some events. I'm actually in the process of helping a gentleman I just actually met like a few weeks ago. He's on a mission to have his own conference, and I'm helping him get that up and running. So the credit repair, it kind of just fell in my lap, and I took it, I ran with it, and I fixed my credit, and now I'm helping other people fix their credit so they can live the life that they always desired.
Dude, I love it. And I love that you said, and for anyone listening, if you're hearing this for the first time, man, financial literacy alters generational wealth.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Let me say it a little bit different. Creates
Yes.
generational wealth. Financial literacy, if people know better, they can do better. Man, we don't even know what we don't know. It was crazy that with I grew up with a lot of financial ignorance, and as I continue to educate myself, it's wild. There's so much power in that. Now, if you're listening to this and you're a small business owner, and if you have no clue how to build your business line of credit, or didn't know that your business could have a credit score or where to access your credit score, you absolutely need to reach out to LaForenzo. I learned that from one of your posts, and I was like, what? I need to get my business right. Where can people, if they want more information, be it business line of credit, business credit score, or personal, be it credit repair or just financial literacy. Maybe their credit's okay, but they want to do great. How can people reach out to you or your company?
You can reach out to us on the website www.e3financialsolutions, the letter E, the number 3 financial solutions, or you can call us at 877-960-1333, or you can email us at hello@E3financialsolutions.
I love it. I love it. If you're out there and you're listening to this, if you have any questions, I mean, you heard this man's story. If you've connected with him and you're looking for a little bit of more, if you're looking for more financial literacy, or if you need that help with the credit, definitely reach out and connect with him. LaForenzo, before we get out of here, I want you to just share, if you will, as you continue to create success, and as you think about all the people that are just 1 and 2 chapters behind you. What is your final message for them, your final words of inspiration that they can take away and use to go create success after trauma?
Let me see. For anyone that's just looking to be a better person in life, I tell you, no matter where you start from, if you start from a wealthy family, if you started from poverty, you started from middle class, no matter, we all have 24 hours in a day. Take advantage of your 24 hours. Right now is the perfect time that you hear the recession talk. Right now, everybody's at an even playing field. Take this time to put forth the effort, work for what you want, set your goals, write them down, and go after your goals. And reset, refocus, and regroup, restart over as many times as you like. Just do not give up on your goals.
Boom. Man, that is fire. Thank you. I really appreciate getting to have you on here today, LaForenzo. If you're listening to the audio, check us out on YouTube. It's Success After Trauma. You can watch the video. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you download from your favorite podcast streaming platform. Tell your friends about it so they can download it, so that they can be inspired by hearing these stories. If you have a story to tell and you're ready to share it, reach out to me, greg@gregpihs.com. I want to share your story so we can empower more people. Be great. It's already in you.